a mesmerizing mixed-race beauty, an utterly ordinary college loser. Two people who seemed impossible together. Yet because of a single small card, they slowly stepped into each other's hearts. The male lead, Zhang Yuanqing, lost his father at a young age and became the target of relentless bullying from his classmates. Just when his life was sinking into darkness, a powerful fist struck out. That punch tore open the curtain of his gray and hopeless world. The boy who threw it was named Lei Yibing. Unlike the gentle Zhang Yuanqing, he was bright, righteous, and brave, once pulling Zhang Yuanqing out of the shadow of losing his father. To Zhang Yuanqing, he was the most reliable person in the world. But fate wasn't done tormenting him. In high school, Lei Yibing developed a strange illness. His brain would uncontrollably recall every memory, even useless scraps he had long forgotten. Worse, it automatically collected and analyzed new information, giving his mind an unbelievable level of control over his body. The downside: every episode left him in unbearable agony, yet hospitals could find no cause. Only the special medicine his mother brought from abroad kept it in check. Recently, though, he could feel the effect fading. His body was developing resistance. "Yuanzi, I'll take you shopping later," said his aunt. Zhang Yuanqing's lively and cheerful young aunt, spoke with a playful grin. Zhang Yuanqing instinctively agreed, but his eyes drifted to a package that had just been delivered, with no sender listed. Suddenly, a chill ran down his spine. His grandmother chopped a hand on his shoulder, warning coldly. If he dared to go with his aunt, she'd break his legs. As it turned out, Zhang Yue had reached the age of arranged blind dates. She often dragged Zhang Yuanqing along to pose as her boyfriend and scare away potential suitors. Zhang Yue quickly countered, "Mom, Yuanzi's already in his 20s. This is the perfect age to date. If he doesn't dress up, how's he supposed to attract girls?" Zhang Yuanqing cursed silently, once again being used as her shield. But his grandmother was no fool, an old hand who could see right through her daughter's scheme. Soon enough, mother and daughter were quarreling again. Zhang Yuanqing chose tactical retreat, heading off to finally open the package. When he pulled apart the cardboard box, inside, besides a luxurious-looking black card from some kind of elite health club, there was also a handwritten note. "Yuanzi, I once found something fascinating. I thought it could change my life, but I couldn't control it. I believe you can. We're brothers. Take this as my gift to you. Lei Yibing." Zhang Yuanqing sighed. Did it really need to be this mysterious? But the thought of that high-end black card made him pause. His expression grew solemn. What kind of thing was so overwhelming that even Lei Yibing couldn't control it? Something that could change a man's life? After all this time apart, had Lei Yibing gone down a strange path? What exactly did he take Zhang Yuanqing for? The call was quickly connected. Zhang Yuanqing grinned obsequiously. Lei Yibing sure has an eye for people. But the voice on the other end wasn't Lei Yibing. It was his father. He explained that 3 days ago, Lei Yibing had mysteriously vanished from his dorm. Strangely, campus surveillance never recorded him leaving. Even his roommates swore he never stepped outside. One moment he was there, the next he was simply gone. As a modern college student, Zhang Yuanqing didn't buy into vanishing into thin air. He preferred to believe Lei Yibing had crossed the wrong people and been kidnapped. With that in mind, he reassured Lei's parents, "Don't worry. My grandpa and cousin both work at the security bureau. I'll ask them what should be done." Fragments of information flashed through Zhang Yuanqing's mind. He thought of the black card. But when he reached into his pocket, he discovered the card had completely disappeared. At once, a splitting pain tore through his skull. His strange illness had struck again. His brain went into overdrive, leaving him writhing in agony, yet his thoughts clearer than ever. The realization hit him. That black card was no ordinary item. Why had Lei Yibing chosen to give it to him, rather than the security bureau? Was it because the Jiangnan branch couldn't be trusted? After all, his grandfather was a retired police chief, his cousin a squad captain. With his family's deep ties to the system, people from Hangzhou might not be able to reach this far. Soon, crimson blood dripped from his nose. Zhang Yuanqing couldn't hold on any longer and swallowed one of his special pills. Just then, his grandmother's voice came from outside. Yuanzi, investigators from the Kanyang District Security Bureau are here for you. Zhang Yuanqing's heart skipped a beat. What kind of timing was that? Without hesitation, he deleted his call record with Lei's father. His grandmother had already checked their credentials. 3 men had come. Their clothes weren't exactly formal, but they were indeed from the Kanyang Bureau, here to question him. Once seated, Li Dongzhe went straight to the point, recounting the details of Lei Yibing's disappearance and mentioning the package Zhang Yuanqing had received. Though Zhang Yuanqing already knew the story, he feigned ignorance. But he couldn't hide the matter of the package, so he admitted it. I just got it. No name on the sender. I was wondering who sent it. As for what's inside, empty. Nothing at all. Technically, he wasn't lying. With the black car vanishing, it might as well have been empty. Still, the investigators weren't convinced. As the last person connected to Lei Yibing, they requested to check his room, computer, and phone. It wasn't mandatory, but refusing would look bad. Zhang Yuanqing agreed without hesitation. Sure, it'll prove I've got nothing to hide. But when Zhang Yuanqing realized the one checking his belongings was a female officer, his face stiffened, and he stammered nervously, it's for self-study, not shared online. That's not illegal, right? To his surprise, the officer gave him a knowing look and calmly stated they were only here for Lei Yibing's case. Once she left, Zhang Yuanqing turned to Li Dongzhe, hoping to learn more details about Lei Yibing. But what he heard was no different from what Lei's father had told him. He figured it wasn't that there was no progress. More likely, they just didn't want him to know. Suddenly, Li Dongzhe's tone shifted. His face darkened as he warned coldly. If you learn anything, report it immediately. Do not hide it from us, or the next one to disappear could be you. The words made Zhang Yuanqing's already restless mind even more unsettled. Was that a threat? Shivering, he forced out, "Teach, thanks for the warning." Just then, the sound of the door closing echoed in the room. The female officer had finished her inspection. She glanced back at Zhang Yuanqing with a faint, smug smile. Seeing this, Zhang Yuanqing's heart sank. He was doomed. She must have seen everything. Li Dongzhe didn't linger. He handed Zhang Yuanqing his card and said, "If anything comes to mind, contact me anytime." After they left, Zhang Yuanqing brushed off his grandmother's questions, claiming his headache was acting up. Out on the street, a man asked, "Well, Guanya, did you find anything?" Guanya's expression turned serious. "Yes, something major." Hearing that, Li Dongzhe immediately straightened up and told her to continue. "I found several hidden folders named Viwo 50 with a note that said, 'It's crazy Thursday today.'" The man's face darkened instantly. But Guanya didn't stop. Zhang Yuanqing is a total mature woman in black stockings fanatic. His study materials are full of them. His recycle bin? Suspiciously spotless. And his social life? He's in all sorts of groups, but only active in game chats and LSP groups. Aside from a game console, his room has no other entertainment. Deep down, he's actually pretty withdrawn. The man finally lost patience. "That's your so-called major discovery? How many times have I told you? No sleazy jokes, no dirty talk. It's crude and unbecoming." Guanya only smirked, unfazed. "Don't be such a bore. A little humor lightens the mood." Anyway, his computer and phone didn't hold anything useful. But I did find Lei Yibing's letter tucked under a flower pot. That confirms Lei really did send him something. Likely the roll card. We just don't know which class it is. Li Dongzhe fell silent for a moment. Finally, he muttered one sentence. "Come back tomorrow, if Zhang Yuanqing hasn't gone missing." The crimson glow of the setting sun painted the horizon, heralding the approach of night. Sitting at his desk, Zhang Yuanqing continued piecing together the clues. If Lei Yibing's disappearance was man-made, then the true target had to be the black card. In that case, the Security Bureau wasn't the only one suspecting him. It was highly possible a third party had come after Lei Yibing. The fact Lei hadn't contacted the Bureau likely meant he didn't trust them. And those 3 oddball investigators, he couldn't be sure if they were friend or foe. The safest move would be to tell his cousin everything. But the thought alone nearly crushed him. His cousin couldn't be reached, and even if he could, how was he supposed to explain that the black card had simply vanished into thin air? The more he thought about it, the worse it felt. Suddenly, a furious female voice exploded outside his door. It was his Aunt Jiang Yue. Before heading to her blind date, she had messaged him to sneak out and help her escape, but with him ignoring her texts and calls, she was convinced he had abandoned her. Listening to her endless scolding, Zhang Yuanqing could only reply helplessly, "Coming." But just as he tried to stand, his head throbbed and burned all at once, leaving him dazed and confused. His grandmother quickly covered for him. He said he had a headache this afternoon and went to bed early. Don't bother him. Come here and tell me, how was your day today? Any prospects? Jiang Yue waved her hand. Pretty good. $1,000,000 a year salary, house and car, but I don't like him. He makes too much money. Meanwhile, inside the room, Zhang Yuanqing stared at his reflection in disbelief. On his forehead, a black orb had appeared out of nowhere, with a progress bar right beneath it. He instantly thought of the black moon emblem on the card. But he had no idea what would happen once the bar hit 100%. Before he could think further, the bar shot up from 90% to 99%. Suddenly, a system prompt blazed before his eyes. Roll card reboot complete. Roll attributes, name, pending, please assign immediately. Race, human, class, Night Wanderer, level, 0, skills, none, EXP, 0%, morality, 60, initial value. Never let it fall below 60. Before, you had no choice. Now, do the right thing. Staring at the futuristic interface, Zhang Yuanqing froze. Was this really one of those web novel systems? Before he could react, the panel shifted again with a new prompt. Please assign your character name. Zhang Yuanqing felt speechless. Was the system really this dumb? It couldn't even communicate. Just moments ago, he thought he'd gained some incredible cheat power. He wrote his real name on the panel. A prompt popped up immediately. Real name not allowed. Realizing he couldn't use it, he paused to think. Then casually typed in another name. Name registered. Primordial Celestial Lord. Initiating Spirit Realm in 10 seconds. Good luck, Primordial Celestial Lord. As Zhang Yuanqing stared blankly, the countdown hit 0. Spirit Realm map initialized. Welcome to Night Wanderer, Shelling Tunnel. Code 0079. Difficulty S mode, solo death type. Main mission 1, survive for 3 hours. Main mission 2, explore realm 0079. Current exploration 0%. Note, non-realm items cannot be brought inside. One notification after another flashed through his mind. When he opened his eyes again, he was already standing in an unfamiliar place. Before he could adjust, the panel reappeared with the introduction for Realm 0079. Have you heard of one of Songhai's 10 great urban legends, the Shelling Tunnel? Built in the late 20th century, during construction, a crew entered on a rainy night and never returned. The Bureau searched for days, but only one worker was ever found alive. The rest vanished without a trace. That survivor lived, but his mind was shattered, leaving him insane. No matter how investigators questioned him, he repeated only one phrase, "Don't enter the temple." Cold sweat slid down Zhang Yuanqing's face as he read, because he knew this place. Just days ago, when visiting his father's grave, he had passed by this tunnel. But the real Shelling Tunnel wasn't like this. It wasn't this decayed, this ancient. A nameless dread gripped his chest, making his body tremble uncontrollably. He forced himself to stay calm. He analyzed the system's hints. Surviving 3 hours meant extreme danger. Exploration clearly referred to this tunnel, meaning whatever lurked inside was deadly. Still, if it was a mission, there had to be rewards. His class was listed as Night Wanderer, yet his level was 0, not even 1. That suggested becoming a Night Wanderer was itself part of the reward. But what exactly was a Night Wanderer? The figure from folklore? Lei Yibing was right. The black card really could change a life. But he'd overlooked the warning. Hard to control wasn't exaggeration. It meant lethal risk. A death-type realm, It was as bad as it sounded. Suddenly, the only overhead light snapped off with a pop. Footsteps echoed. Tap, 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 drawing closer. A figure in a worker's uniform staggered into view. Torn clothes, a shriveled body. It was clearly no longer human. And it wasn't just one. The first corpse was followed by several more. Zhang Yuanqing cursed aloud and turned to run. To his shock, the corpses didn't attack. Instead, they all raised their withered arms, pointing in the same direction. Soon, more corpses emerged, encircling him completely. Yet like before, none struck. They only pointed toward the same destination. Without hesitation, Zhang Yuanqing bolted. The system had clearly marked this as a solo death type realm. Logically, these miners should have been attacking him. He didn't know why, but one thing was certain. Getting away from them was the right move. Under the pale moonlight, he ran non-stop until the corpses were gone and a narrow mountain path appeared ahead. At its end stood a desolate, crumbling temple. A sudden thought struck him. It was the warning from the system, and the mad worker's final words, "Don't enter the temple." If he followed that warning, he should stay away. But he had already left the tunnel, and the real target of exploration was most likely this ruined shrine. Those corpses, they were probably guiding him here, which meant the two main missions were actually connected: explore the temple and survive 3 hours inside. Entering the temple might mean death, but going back into the tunnel guaranteed it. Lei Bing, damn it, this isn't a 3060, it's a 36Z. Some luxury club you sent me. More like a death trap. Swallowing hard, Zhang Yuanqing forced himself forward. As the saying went, no risk, no reward. There was no escape from this trial. The moment he stepped inside, the ruined temple lit up. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps rustled through the grass. Sha, sha, sha. At first, he thought it was just nerves, some hallucination, but that only sharpened his vigilance. After all, the first step to seeing ghosts was always hearing them. Soon, the rustling grew louder, and sinister seals began appearing in his field of vision. This is way too cursed. Just stepped inside the temple and already ran into ghosts. This time, Zhang Yuanqing didn't dare linger, danger ahead or not. He charged straight toward the flickering firelight. To his horror, the footsteps behind him quickened as he ran faster. Luckily, the main hall was close. With a leap, he slammed the doors wide open. His body tumbled hard into the great hall. When he looked back outside, the footsteps were gone. The doors shut with a heavy thud. At last, he could take in the hall's interior. 3 stone statues stood solemnly within. One was a golden boy, another a jade maiden, and the last, a woman with a strange sigil carved into her brow. Zhang Yuanqing quickly noticed the goddess statue's hands seemed to have once held something. He guessed it might be a vital clue. Then he spotted a stone stele, inscribed with details about the temple. It stated the shrine was dedicated to the goddess of Sandow Mountain, built in the early Ming dynasty. That was at least 5 or 6 centuries ago. The temple was long abandoned. So who was still replacing the candles in the main hall? His eyes fell to the base of the candlestick, where a skeleton lay hidden. Judging by the clothing, it was one of the construction workers. Linking this with the real-world events, Zhang Yuanqing shivered. Was this realm generated from the urban legend, or had this eerie place always existed? If the latter, then the workers, like him, had stumbled in and become part of the tale. But now wasn't the time for speculation. Survival meant finding more clues. Steeling himself, he crouched by the bones to investigate. The cause of death was obvious: shattered ribs and breastbone, fine fractures on the left shoulder, killed by something heavy, a blunt force strike. In the corpse's chest pocket, he found a talisman and a bundle of pages. The notes read, "Another brother vanished last night. The 3rd disappearance within this temple. Could be haunted by Sandow mountain spirits, or has some powerful demon come to feast." Master grew furious when told, insisting we disciples had our cultivation, and no monster would dare pray here. Yet to protect the incense trade, Master ordered us to hide the truth from worshippers. Clearly, he knows more. As for ghosts, my corpse sealing talisman and phantom art should suffice. without troubling Master. Still, my unease deepens. Each day, another vanishes. Senior brother and I searched, but found nothing. The nights remain eerily calm, yet dread coils tighter in my chest. Today, senior brother acted strangely, anger simmering in his eyes. I asked what he discovered, but he would not say. His temper was foul. I decided to ask tomorrow. But soon, senior brother vanished as well. I was breaking down, so I confessed everything to Master. Master's face showed no emotion. He only told me to come after sunset. Then he would reveal everything, and a secret, one that concerned the rise and fall of 1,000 years. After supper, I sat waiting in my chamber for the sun to sink. Since the disappearances began, never once have I longed for nightfall. Until now. Reading up to this point, Zhang Yuanqing frowned. The writing cut off abruptly, with no continuation. The worker had stuffed the note into his pocket. This had to be an important clue. The cause of the temple's downfall was still unknown. If he uncovered its origin, maybe he could complete the second main quest. With that thought, he knew he had to leave the main hall and face the dangers outside. Only by doing so could he gather more information. After all, there was precedent. Following the path of the worker might reveal a way to survive. Yet when it came time to step out, he couldn't help but psyche himself up. The air outside pulsed with an ominous, dangerous aura. Staying here and letting time slip by was certainly not the right choice. So he stepped beyond the reach of the firelight. Along the way, he came across the corpses of many construction workers. Though he was slowly getting used to it, the sight remained horrifying. But unlike those near the main hall, these bodies bore no fractures on their shoulders. Though still brutally slain, their injuries were different. Suddenly, a chilling cry for help echoed from behind. Zhang Yuanqing spun around. His mind snapped. No need to guess. I know damn well what's behind me. Stop yelling help. I'm the one who needs saving. He swore silently. If he made out alive, he would send every last one of Lei Yibing's study materials straight to Uncle Lei. Soon after, he discovered another corpse, killed in the same way as the one in the main hall. In its pocket, he found a talisman, a bronze mirror, and an ancient book. As his eyes fixed on the three items, a system prompt appeared. Spirit realm item discovered. Name, corpse sealing talisman. Type, consumable. Effect, seals corpses. Description, a talisman crafted by a powerful night wanderer, bane of all corpse-type entities. Place it on the forehead of the undead to complete the seal. Note, one-time use only. The mirror and book had no system notes. Only the talisman did, marking it as the key item. With that, Zhang Yuanqing decided to flip through the book. The entry read, "It has been 2.5 years since I entered the temple of Sandow Mountain. I've learned to read and write. Senior brother says once Master returns from exorcising the dead, he'll officially accept me as his disciple. I've begun practicing the moon-swallowing, soul-nourishing technique, the foundational art of becoming a night wanderer. But the rebellion of Prince Yin rages on, smoke of war everywhere. Master, strongest of the Song Prefecture Night Wanderer lineage, had no choice but to descend the mountain to send the restless souls to rest. Without it, with war and ghosts combined, the people would suffer endlessly." At that moment, Zhang Yuanqing suddenly felt a sour ache in his shoulder, but ignored it. He realized the book was a diary recording daily cultivation and life at the temple. The texture of its paper matched that of the corpses near the main hall. The Prince Yin rebellion placed it in the era of the Jingnan campaign. Yet the night wanderers described did not match any known history. The diary continued. Sunset. Night has fallen at last. I heard a knock on my door. Overjoyed, I rushed to open it. But outside was not Master. It was senior brother, the one who vanished last night. Gone for a day and a night, he had returned. But I felt no joy. For what stood there was no longer human. His chest was drenched in blood, his heart ripped out. He stared at me with dead eyes and said, "Do not trust Master." Yet the most crucial section after that had been torn away, leaving Zhang Yuanqing utterly speechless. Suddenly, a chill crawled over his skin. making his body shudder. This was no place to linger. With that thought, Zhang Yuanqing lifted the bronze mirror. To his shock, the reflection revealed the real cause of his condition. A hollow-eyed phantom was clinging to his shoulder. Without hesitation, he slapped the corpse-sealing talisman onto its head. He bowed quickly in place, muttering, "Big bro, my bad." Then he raised the mirror again, praying desperately, "Please work, talisman bro." But nothing happened. It was useless. This thing wasn't a corpse-type entity at all. As if that wasn't enough, a pair of red high heels appeared a few steps away. Tap, tap, tap echoed in rhythm, as though an invisible dancer twirled in the courtyard. Zhang Yuanqing nearly burst into tears. A Ming Dynasty temple paired with Western red shoes. What kind of nightmare combo was this? Luckily, the shoes hadn't noticed him. He raised the bronze mirror again, clinging to hope. The pain in his shoulder grew sharper, so that was why those workers' shoulder bones had shattered. After what felt like forever, he finally crawled back to the main hall's entrance. This time, he was literally on all fours, the phantom on his back weighing him down. That single minute's journey felt like an eternity. But once he stepped into the firelight of the main hall, the crushing weight vanished. Relief washed over him. He had guessed right. The main hall was a safe zone. Whether it was the red shoes or the shoulder-clinging wraith, he could always retreat here. But if both struck at once, he'd be finished. Just thinking about it sent a chill down his spine. Too close. Rule number 1 in horror games: always shut the door. The true source of this temple's terror wasn't just the wraiths or the cursed shoes. That banyan tree in the back courtyard, there was something wrong with it too. If he went back out, he needed to brace himself. Suddenly, the system panel appeared. First main quest complete. Reward: corpse sealing talisman ×1. Rest granted, 36 hours. Countdown to next opening of Realm 0079 has begun. Before Zhang Yuanqing could react, in the next instant, he was back in his own bedroom. A quick glance confirmed it. This was really his room. His whole body went limp as he collapsed onto the bed, even feeling like the air itself was sweet. As for the talisman he had gained, all he needed was to think retrieve item, and an inventory menu would pop up, just like in a video game. But he was still level 0, not yet a true night wanderer. He thought about telling his cousin everything. But then he remembered their conversation earlier that day. The man clearly knew more than he let on. With that, Zhang Yuanqing pulled out Li Dong's business card and dialed the number. Before he could even speak, Li answered first. "Ah, so you've made it out of the spirit realm already?" He congratulated Zhang Yuanqing on becoming a spirit realm walker, then explained the categories: official and unofficial. He himself was official, while Zhang Yuanqing was wild. As for what the spirit realm truly was, he wouldn't reveal just yet. Instead, he said, "If you want to learn more, you'll have to make a choice." According to him, the Bureau treated walkers in 2 ways: either recruit and train them as official members, or keep them under surveillance. The latter meant registering, promising not to abuse powers illegally, and being left alone, but without ever receiving official support. What's there to hesitate about? I, Zhang Yuanqing, am ready to join, to shed blood for the country and the people. Li Dongza was pleased by the answer, praising him as worthy of his security family heritage. He told him he'd come pick him up at 8 a.m. sharp. Zhang Yuanqing apologized for hiding the black card, but Li didn't mind. He even praised Zhang's caution, calling it commendable. The next morning, Zhang staggered out of his room, clutching his stomach, dark circles heavy under his eyes. "Grandma, I'm starving." He'd wanted a good night's rest, but every time he closed his eyes, he dreamt of the phantom on his shoulder. Grandma simply asked curiously why he was up so early. Aunt Jiangyue, however, gave him a teasing look. She asked if he'd been up to something naughty last night, and even threatened to check his trash bin. Too tired to argue, Zhang replied, "Sure, while you're at it, check under the bed too." Then he ignored her completely. Later, he turned to his grandfather with a question. "Grandpa, I remember after the shelling tunnel workers vanished, the Bureau organized a search party. You were part of it, right?" His grandfather looked puzzled. "That's all ancient history. Why bring it up now?" Zhang gave a casual excuse. Oh, I saw the story online again yesterday. Do you know what happened to the worker who was found? But Grandpa couldn't recall it all. Grandma, on the other hand, remembered clearly. That worker vanished again later. This connected directly to Zhang's situation. He had 36 hours before re-entering the tunnel. Only this time, unlike him, the worker never came back alive. The death rate in the temple was terrifyingly high. The second main quest would surely be even deadlier. To survive, relying on the bureau was the only smart choice. After washing up, Zhang bit into a bun and said goodbye to his grandparents. His grandfather simply watched his back as he walked away, silent, saying nothing. Soon, a long business limousine pulled up into Zhang Yuanqing's view. Inside, Li Dongzi casually asked what he wanted to drink. Coke, Zhang answered. Then you'll have to buy it yourself later. Zhang blinked. Buy myself? Can I expense it? Li didn't bother bantering. I'm taking you to get your onboarding done, along with some basic training. Introduction time. Li Dongzi, level 3 Spirit Realm Walker, captain of the 2nd Squad, Kanyang District, Songhai branch of the 5 Element Alliance. Class Scout. From now on, we're colleagues. Then he got to the heart of what Zhang most wanted to know. The spirit realm is a supernatural force that science can't explain. We've tried to analyze it, but full understanding is still out of reach. It exists within reality, yet apart from it. Only the chosen can enter, and the way they're chosen is through a card. It's called a roll card. Whoever receives one is forced into a trial. Complete it, and you're granted a profession, along with its skills and traits. But the realm selection process remains a mystery. Roll cards appear randomly, sometimes inside your body, sometimes lying on the street, sometimes hidden in a random web link you click. Finishing the trial is just a start. To level up, to grow stronger, a walker must keep taking missions, keep entering the spirit realm. Don't worry, though, missions aren't constant, and not every scenario is lethal. In fact, some can be entertaining. Take me, for example. I'm a scout, level 3. In the past 2 years, I've only had to enter a solo realm once every 3 months, and nearly died each time. The rest were team realms, safer, and, honestly, more fun. Still, power has a price. Zhang muttered, sound a lot like dungeon runs in a game. Li chuckled. That's why I like talking to young people. You pick things up fast, and you don't shy away from the strange. Solo realms are the deadliest, with the highest mortality rate. Group types are easier. Some are death type, some just penalty type, where you lose experience points. Zhang asked, why are solos the most dangerous? Li explained, because in group realms, you meet walkers of different classes. But solo realms test your own class directly. Take me as a scout. At the transcendent stage, my abilities are perception, tracking, and analysis. My 3 solo realms were acting as a detective in a murder case, hunting criminals in the jungle, and surviving in the wilderness. Each class faces different scenarios at Transcendent and Saint stages. Zhang nodded, realizing why his own was supernatural horror. So Lei Yibing most likely entered a realm too? This time, Li didn't dodge. The official judgment from Hongqing's bureau is that Lei Yibing died in the realm. The timeline's too long. A normal Transcendent level run lasts a few hours at minimum, a day or 2 at most. He's been missing 4. Zhang shook his head. What about above Transcendent? Li spread his hands. That's beyond my pay grade, but I assume they'll last longer. Zhang fell into thought. Maybe Lei Yibing had reached above Transcendent. Either way, with his current skills and knowledge, he was powerless. Joining the bureau and saving himself came first. Suddenly, Li Dongzi asked, what's your current morality score? Zhang Yuanqing glanced at his panel. 60, the starting value. In the world of walkers, morality was the biggest trap for newbies. Drop below 60, and the realm's punishment system would trigger. His location would be broadcast to every walker in the city, along with a bounty mission to eliminate him. Zhang froze. So I can never do bad things again? What about handwork or watching some study materials? Does that count as moral corruption? Just a thought made his future look bleak. Li Dongzi burst out laughing. Relax. From what we've observed, stealing, robbery, assault, those dock you 1 to 5 points depending on severity. Killing someone costs you 10, and mass casualties or serious incidents deduct even more. But private vices? They don't touch your morality score. And remember, morality doesn't just drop, it can also be gained. So be a good guy, yeah? Still, Zhang wasn't as panicked as he looked. A question gnawed at him. Why would the spirit realm care about restraining walkers? Morality and law were human inventions, tools to maintain order. In nature, no other creature needed such systems. Unless the realm itself sided with humanity, the very existence of morality points made little sense. But the realm was a supernatural force. With that, he scratched his head and gave up pondering. Fine, I'll just help more old ladies cross the street. Before long, the two arrived at the bureau's main entrance. Zhang asked curiously, "So, does helping out poor young ladies count as moral failing or illegal behavior?" Li didn't answer directly. He only said, "Earning morality points is as simple as losing them. Just do good deeds." In fact, plenty of walkers and evil groups love charity and donations. Why? Because it's the fastest way to stack morality points. With enough money, they can kill freely. Ironic, isn't it? You never know what kind of monsters hide behind those philanthropists. And the cruelest irony? In both the real world and the realm, human lives can be bought. Also, killing other walkers doesn't deduct morality. Anyway, let's move on to the official organization. We belong to the Five Elements Alliance. It's made up of 5 forces: the 100 Flower Society, the White Tiger Legion, the Scarlet Flame Gang, the Water God Palace, and the Atrium. Each represents a class: Wood Fae, Scout, Fire Mage, Water Wraith, and Earth Brute. Zhang Yuanqing couldn't help but mutter, "Great, so the big official alliance is basically a bunch of demons and monsters." Besides the 5 Elements Alliance, there are a few other state-backed groups. I'll send you the files later. The alliance itself only formed 20 years ago. Before that, each faction acted alone, and they didn't get along. Part of it comes down to the 5-element cycle of conflict and the clashing temperaments of the professions. Take the Wood Fae of the 100 Flower Society. They're extreme environmentalists, animal rights fanatics, worse than any god could tolerate. Every time I see their twisted zeal, I just want to plant a boot right up their ass. Li Dongza grew more animated, and the Atrium with their real estate obsession, or the Water God Palace with their bacteria cultivation nonsense. Just as ridiculous. Only us scouts of the White Tiger Legion are wise, calm, decisive. The perfect class. Zhang Yuanqing's lips twitched. And do the other 4 groups agree with that? Li only snorted. See? Sounds more and more like a game, doesn't it? Different classes, different roles. The Scarlet Flame Gang are reckless berserkers. The Water God Palace are water mages. The 100 Flower Society are healers and summoners. The Atrium are thick-skinned tanks. Zhang cut in immediately. So you scouts are basically the 75 gold ward from games? He realized his mistake the moment it left his mouth and apologized sincerely. In truth, Li wasn't exaggerating. Once past the transcendent stage, scouts gained terrifying solo combat ability. The class really was close to perfect. Of course, Li added, among the orthodox professions, the Night Wanderer is recognized as the strongest. And yes, I mean orthodox, excluding the dark professions. Even we scouts admit the Night Wanderer is superior. Zhang's ego swelled at the words. He quickly pressed, asking Li to explain the Night Wanderer class. Li didn't hold back. Night Wanderers, even early in the transcendent stage, show frightening assassination ability, explosive power that's off the charts. They can also commune with souls, forge spirit-controlling tools, a wide arsenal of versatile, deadly skills. But they're incredibly rare. Take Songhai's branch. There isn't a single Night Wanderer here. Too few trial realms locally. Plus, the Tai sect in the capital scoops up every Night Wanderer they can from across the country. Speaking of it, Li couldn't help but fantasize how amazing it would be if he had a Night Wanderer on his team. Then it struck him. He hadn't asked Zhang Yuanqing's class yet. He silently prayed it wasn't Fire Mage. He hated those hot-tempered brats the most. Zhang scratched his cheek awkwardly. I'm a night wanderer. The air froze. Silence fell, thick and eerie. Li Dongzi could no longer keep his composure. He grabbed Zhang Yuanqing by the shoulders. You're a night wanderer? I actually stumbled upon a night wanderer. Every night wanderer was a prized asset. Teams and even factions went to war just to claim one. Oh Lord, do you realize? A young wife in the 100 Flower Society once seduced a night wanderer from the Scarlet Flame gang. Literally slept with him, just to make him defect. He ended up serving her as a slave. And now I've picked up a night wanderer of my own. He quickly asked for Zhang Yuanqing's realm ID. Without hesitation, Zhang replied, Primordial Heavenly Lord. The room fell silent again. Li's mouth twitched before he forced out the most insincere praise. Good name. He coughed strategically, switching topics. All right, let's get your paperwork done. Base salary, 20,000 a month. Mission allowances. Bonus for achievements. Any objections? At that rate, Zhang dared not object. Yes, boss. Whatever you say, boss. Li then gave him a quick tour of the bureau. These are civilian staff. Their sole job is to service walkers. In short, they're your personal assistants for anything you need. Come on, this is my office. Sit on the couch for a minute while I print your contract. With that, Li turned to the printer, setting up the paperwork. Suddenly, a mature female voice rang from the doorway. Need a hand? Realm ID, Guanya. Class Scout. Level 2. The moment Zhang saw her, yesterday's embarrassing inspection scene flashed in his mind. Li, unfazed, handed her the freshly printed contract and stepped out to call his superiors. Guanya noticed Zhang's flushed face. She twirled a lock of hair and teased. So you cleared your trial? Huh? Little boy with a thing for older women. Li rapped his cane on the floor. Stop saying weird things in front of the kid. He's still a student. But Guanya being Guanya, she ignored him. Sliding onto the couch beside Zhang, she leaned closer, her voice sultry. I bet you want to know more about the trial realms, don't you, college boy? Zhang avoided her gaze, but nodded, asking her to continue. She shot a glance at Li Dongzi's retreating back, puzzled by how cheerful he looked. He was practically limping with joy. Turning back, she handed Zhang a form. Fill this out, then give me your ID card. No card, just recite the number. By the way, Li Dongzi should have given you the basic training already, right? Guanya lazily added, a few things you need to know. Starting today, your old ID is void. The Bureau will issue you a new one, 3 days, and it'll be ready. With it, you can buy train and plane tickets and use the fast-track lanes. A temporary card will be in your hands tomorrow. Zhang blinked. Why? Guanya rolled her eyes. Because when you picked your name, the realm already warned you. No real names allowed. It turned out that the spirit realm divided classes into 2 categories. The lawful professions, the orthodox ones, and the dark professions, the evil ones. Walkers of the dark professions were either bloodthirsty killers or sadistic monsters, with one common hobby, hunting down the orthodox professions. That was why keeping your identity secret was critical. Zhang Yuanqing set his pen down. So Guanya and Li Dongzi, those aren't their real names either? Guanya gave a playful smile. What do you think? Then she reassured him. Relax. We're the official side. Most of the time, we're the hunters and they're the prey. Zhang quickly flattered. Then Sister Guanya must be one hell of a hunter. To his surprise, Guanya leaned right up next to him. Sweet talker, huh? How many girlfriends have you had? Zhang blurted out. None. Single. Her expression shifted instantly, as if he'd said something unbelievable. But your trash bin was spotless. I thought you had a girlfriend. Zhang was speechless, muttering inside. What's with you and my aunt? Both obsessed with trash bins? Then, with her sultry looks, Guanya gave a shameless grin. Want me to order you a girlfriend online? Zhang gave 2 thumbs up. I prefer realistic girlfriends. A double entendre that made Guanya burst into laughter. I like you, kid. Zhang followed up smoothly. And I like Sister Guanya. For a moment, the seasoned Guanya froze. Then she quickly recovered, smirking. Yeah, right. No way you're single. Zhang raised 3 fingers solemnly. Heaven and earth as my witness. If I'm lying to you, may I get hit by a car the moment I step outside. With the joking done, Guanya got back to business. There are 10 walker squads in the entire Kanyang district. We're squad 2. Right now, 5 members. With you 6. Among them, only Shirchong and I are White Tiger Scouts. You're a provisional member for now, but once you pass probation, you'll be one of us. Keep that in mind. Zhang Yuanqing nodded eagerly, thumping his chest. Got it. From now on, I'm following Sister Guanya. Delighted, Guanya skimmed his form. 21 years old, ID, Primordial Heavenly Lord. Ha, bold name. Not worried someone will beat you up over it. Then her eyes landed on the profession field. At first, she thought she'd misread it, but soon her reaction mirrored Li Dong's. You're a night wanderer? This time, Zhang didn't shy away. He lifted his chin, full of swagger. That's right, I am. At that moment, Guanya finally understood why Li Dongza had been practically floating when he left. Suddenly, she hooked Zhang Yuanqing's chin with her finger. Teasing, she said, now that our squad has its own night wanderer, you'd better not get snatched away by some wild woman from another faction, or you'll be in big trouble. Zhang played along smoothly. Wouldn't dare. Alive, I belong to Sister Guanya. Dead, I'll be your ghost. Guanya beamed. Good boy. I like that. But then she noticed something odd. His level was still 0. Normally, completing a trial pushed you to level 1. It didn't take her long to realize why. His trial realm had been shelling tunnel confinement. A rare look of alarm crossed her face. Seeing it, dread immediately welled up in Zhang Yuanqing's chest. He asked what was weighing on his mind. Since it's a dungeon, there's got to be guides, right? Just then, a sigh echoed from nearby. The reaction of both veterans made Zhang jump in fright. His heart sank. That sigh, was that pity? Sympathy? Don't tell me, I really drew the deadliest blind box of them all. Guanya picked up his file and said, Wang Tai, have him come to my desk. She added, of course there are guides. Every official walker has to submit their realm reports. We reward them for it. But Shelling Tunnel is different. Better see for yourself. Soon, details on Night Wanderer trial realms appeared. Wang Village Ruins, SSSRank. Objective, survive until dawn. Hazards, hanged ghosts inside the village, restless graves outside. When the hanged ghost reaches for your life, stand on your head to evade it, but the weak won't last long. At midnight, the grave spirits flood in. You must light incense from the convenience store or be torn apart. Ghost Bride, a rank. Objective, spend the wedding night with her until dawn. The bride is stunning and treats each groom with wild abandon. She won't harm her chosen husband, as long as he satisfies her. But no man has ever lasted till morning. Nearly impossible. Only one walker in history survived, and afterward, he developed a permanent loathing for women. Skimming these entries, Zhang thought most weren't too bad. Aside from needing a set of iron kidneys for the Ghost Bride, survival rates seemed decent. Until he opened the file on Shelling Tunnel. Shelling Tunnel. Difficulty, unknown. Objective, unknown. Origin. During construction, 12 workers entered by mistake. Only one returned, his mind broken. 36 hours later, he was pulled back in and died there. Warning. This realm is extremely lethal. To date, no one is cleared alive. 2 short sentences hit like a sledgehammer, smashing Zhang from heaven straight back into hell. Shelling Tunnel. No survivors. Meanwhile, Li Dongza was puffing cigars and sipping red wine, in the best mood of his life. A young centurion had just taken office and needed quick results and loyal protégés. For him, a clean background night wanderer was like rain from heaven. Perfect timing. And for Li himself, the timing couldn't have been better. Because he had recruited a night wanderer, Li Dongza was credited with a major achievement by the centurion. He could already picture the White Tiger Scouts shining brighter than ever. Suddenly, the office door was kicked open by Guanya. Boss, bad news. Li, still clueless to the gravity of the situation, sipped his wine leisurely. Guanya, that was very ungraceful. But the moment she revealed Zhang Yuanqing's trial realm was Shelling Tunnel, his elegance collapsed. Oh God, you mud-brained fool. Look at the mess you've dragged in. Soon, he saw Zhang Yuanqing slumped in despair, face drained of life. Zhang wore the expression of a dying man. Boss, do I still have a chance to be saved? At that, Li Dongza sighed, the same heavy sigh Wang Tai had given earlier. He gripped Zhang's shoulder, trying to console him. Every walker's first trial is a solo realm. And that's the worst part. In a solo trial, no one can help you. It's the spirit realm testing you. Proof you must pay the price for power. I'll file a report and pray the higher archives have intel or strategies on Shelling Tunnel. Otherwise, no one can save you. Write down everything you experienced in there, in detail. Once Zhang finished writing, Li told him to head home. Wait for updates. If anything comes up, I'll inform you immediately. Guanya, take him back. As they left the bureau, Zhang looked at Guanya with rare seriousness. Sister Guanya, this won't be the last time I see you, right? Guess I wasn't joking after all. I really might end up as your ghost. Guanya brushed her hair in the wind, smiling brilliantly. Relax. I'm not about to be your widow. Get in the car. Just moments earlier, Zhang had let himself feel a flicker of hope. Clearly, he'd been thinking too much. But as he settled into the business car, a soft hand landed gently on his head. Guanya's voice was uncharacteristically tender. The boss will try everything to help you, but all I can do is wish you luck. Goodbye. Zhang answered with quiet disappointment. Goodbye. Back in the office, Guanya began writing her report. Yuanshi Tianzuan, Scorpio male. Traits: scheming, vengeful. Note: extremely high risk of being seduced by women from rival factions. Once finished, she tore the slip off and carefully filed it into the second squad's personnel records. Hey, Wang Tai, does that kid stand a chance at clearing it? Wang Tai kept working as he answered. Maybe Tai's sect has detailed info on Shelling Tunnel, but it probably won't help. If it did, they'd have already sent a night wanderer through. An S-rank trial should hold great rewards. If he had artifacts, maybe, just maybe, he'd have hope. Guanya rolled her eyes, stating the obvious. Artifacts were rare as dragon's teeth. Even walkers of the transcendent stage were lucky to have one. Sure, if we could hand him a few, he'd have a shot. But artifacts are wildly diverse, and with how little we know of Shelling Tunnel, we couldn't pick the right ones anyway. Most likely, it'd just end in wasted lives and wasted treasures. After all, there are only two ways to get unbound artifacts. First, by finding them inside a realm. Second, by ambushing a walker in reality and looting them. Only if the item wasn't locked in their inventory. Neither was realistic. If a walker died inside, the realm reclaimed the gear automatically. The loss would be massive. Wang Tai could only shake his head. The truth is, Zhang Yuanqing's just unlucky. Right after Qingming, that's always when Shelling Tunnel reopens. Guanya sighed. Yeah, no kidding. Meanwhile, Li Dongza was reporting Zhang's situation to the Centurion, apologizing for his lapse in judgment, mistaking a return from the realm as proof of clearance, and begging the Centurion to pressure Tai's sect for detailed files on Shelling Tunnel. Never abandon, never give up. That was the White Tiger Scouts' creed. Since Zhang Yuanqing had joined, they couldn't just let him die. Li pleaded earnestly for the Centurion's help. After checking over his words one last time, Li clicked send in silence. Back home, Zhang Yuanqing no longer had the vigor he'd left with. Grandma, I'm back. His grandma noticed immediately. Your cousin's here. He's in the dining room. What's wrong with you, boy? You look like you've lost your soul out there. Zhang muttered, I'm fine. He gave his cousin a quick greeting. His cousin, Qin Yuanjun, frowned. Grandma said you were looking for me last night. Zhang instinctively brushed it off. It's nothing. But Qin brought up Lei Yibing's disappearance. If Li Dongza came to your house in person, it means this case isn't ordinary. And honestly, even I couldn't help with it. Suddenly, Jiang Yuer popped her head out from the corner. Xiao Yuanzi, here. Anti-wrinkle masks, twice a day. Should work wonders. Your grandma made me buy them. Zhang's face went dark. Andy, I don't need that stuff. Before he could finish, both grandma and his cousin jolted in unison. You brat. Grandma scolded, poking his forehead. If you don't need masks, what then? Want me to iron those wrinkles off your face? 30 years old with a 40-year-old mug. Even worse than your dad. How are you going to find a wife like that? She sighed. Your dad's generation was already a wasted account. You better not fail too. Remember last year? When your uncle Wang visited from the next province? Almost made your grandpa faint. Old Chun, I didn't know you had another son. Grandpa had roared right back. That's my grandson. Publicly roasted again. Chen Yuanjun begged Grandma to stop nagging. I've got work later. There's a missing persons case on my desk, and I'm swamped. The moment he said, missing, Zhang's mind jumped to the spirit realm. He pressed for details. Chen explained. Not long ago, 2 people vanished in Shelling Tunnel. Still no sign of them. CCTV shows them entering, but inside the tunnel, nothing, like they were never there. He warned Zhang to keep it quiet. I signed an NDA. Grandma shook her head. That place is haunted, I'm telling you. Every year, someone disappears. Jiang Yue bobbed her head. Exactly. Gives me the creeps. Only Zhang Yuanqing knew the truth. That those 2 poor souls had actually stepped into the spirit realm. The only question was whether they could last 3 hours. Strangely, the thought gave him a twisted sense of comfort. At least I won't be the only one dying. Meanwhile, in the capital, Elder Sun lounged beneath an old tree as a subordinate reported, Sir, the Fu family boy sent you an email. Elder Sun raised a brow. Fu Qingyang? What's this about? The subordinate quickly explained Zhang Yuanqing's situation. He was requesting files on Shelling Tunnel. Elder Sun scoffed. Shelling Tunnel is impossible to clear. Given the files, the sect already abandoned the attempt. Its classification has been downgraded. Tell that Fu kid. The place was S rank from the start, then grew even harder after some accidents. It's no longer a rookie trial. My advice? Forget the Night Wanderer. He's a dead man walking, no investment value. Even ordinary S-rank rookie trials are brutal. Shelling Tunnel is worse. Far stranger, far deadlier. But every S-rank holds something unusual inside. Rare artifacts or critical knowledge. Priceless. We even stationed 2 level 1 Night Wanderers in Songhai, waiting months for the realm to trigger. S-rank rookie trials occasionally admit higher-level walkers of that class. Eventually, both got in. One vanished without a trace. The other cleared his first task but died on the second. And both of them had artifacts. After that, the elders reevaluated and completely gave up on Shelling Tunnel. Still, if someone could clear it and bring back the knowledge inside, it would finally lay our obsession to rest. With that, Elder Sun gave new orders. In a few days, the sect master will summon all Night Wanderers to the capital. Something big will be announced. Prepare the men and recall everyone. Back at home, Zhang Yuanqing muttered coldly at his aunt. Auntie, do you realize you're a total pervert? Jiang Yue huffed. All I did was play a horror game. That's not perverted. Horror games test your nerves. You look for bugs, patterns, explore the psyche of characters. It's healing and thrilling. Her words made Zhang Yuanqing think of the spirit realm. If it really worked like a game, maybe it had rules too? And if there were rules, then even an ordinary guy like him might find a way to survive. After his aunt left, his phone suddenly rang. It was Guanya. He picked up, and she told him to check his email. The provincial chief had already sent him Shelling Tunnel's files. Knowing he never touched his inbox, she'd called to remind him. Zhang thanked her and asked her to pass his thanks to the captain as well. Once I clear the trial, dinner's on me. Guanya paused before replying, her voice quieter than usual. Zhang Yuanqing, I'll wait for that dinner. His answer was simple. Wait for me, Guanya Jia. He hung up and set the phone aside. On the other end, Guanya lay on her bed, worry clouding her face. Even with Tai's sex files, will it change anything? Meanwhile, Zhang downloaded the attachment. Opening it, he saw far more than what he'd known before. Realm number 0079 is not truly Shelling Tunnel. The actual scene is a Ming Dynasty temple, the temple of Sandao Mountain's lady. This lady was likely a night wanderer of exceptionally high rank. No, perhaps she had already transcended beyond that title. It's unclear if such a dazzling figure really existed in the Ming Dynasty, or if the realm itself fabricated her. The Survive 3 Hours mission is relatively simple. While studying old notes, I was once entangled by a wraith that continuously drained life force until its target expired. Night Wanderers naturally suppress spirits. I didn't need much effort to disperse it, but when I tried to devour it, I hit a wall, as if the realm itself protected the wraith. Anyone who reads these notes is cursed, bound to be hounded endlessly by the spirit. Exorcisms only buy time. Each banishment grants about 15 minutes of safety. The temple structure is simple. One main hall, two adjoining courtyards. The candles in the main hall are powerful artifacts, purifying and warding off evil. As long as you stay in the hall, you are safe. But there's a cost. The candles erode fear itself. Stay too long in their glow, and you'll lose all sense of fear. And in a realm like this, losing fear means death. The candles cannot be moved nor taken out of the realm. Reading this, Zhang Yuanqing finally understood. The safe house was a double-edged sword. That candle was like a game mechanic, forcing players to push forward. After half an hour in the hall, I heard cries for help from the rear courtyard, mixed with inhuman roars. After some hesitation, I chose to investigate. The main hall was indeed a safe zone. I'd proven that myself. But its safety came from the candles, not, as I had thought, from the beautiful lady deity. The cries came from the giant banyan tree, but the roars. Zhang himself hadn't heard them back then, wisely avoiding that yard. In the notes, the Night Wanderer warned, "Don't look back. Never look back. That tree seems to have awareness, but why does it beg for help?" As for the roars, I never found the source. He appeared before I could. It was a pair of red dancing shoes. They didn't attack right away. Instead, they invited me to dance. I accepted to test them, but the steps were impossible, too chaotic, too dense. For someone with no dance training, utterly unachievable. No, even seasoned dancers couldn't memorize those steps. I failed. The shoes turned on me, hunting me down. I managed to escape back to the hall, but not before two ribs were crushed underfoot. I realized its true nature. It's a terrifying rule-type artifact. It ignores terrain, ignores obstacles, and will never stop until it wins. Unbelievable. A rule-type artifact in a rookie trial? Now I understood why young Master Qian, even armed with an artifact, still died here, and why no one has ever cleared Shelling Tunnel. What a joke. First-level Night Wanderers or mere mortals stand no chance. As for why the temple fell into ruin, or what that secret tied to 1,000 years of fate really was, I never discovered it. I only hope to complete the second main mission, to bring the truth back to the organization. The record ended there. Clearly, that Night Wanderer never finished the second mission. Piecing it together, Zhang Yuanqing realized how those construction workers had died so horribly. They'd been stomped to pieces by the red shoes, bones shattered one by one. Sure, his uncle had taught him some dance, but if even a first-level Night Wanderer couldn't make it, he had no chance as a normal guy. If Uncle were the one facing the red shoes, maybe man and ghost really could dance until the end of time. That thought sparked a golden glint in Zhang Yuanqing's eyes. He'd seen the root cause of the Night Wanderer's failure, the impossible memory test of chaotic dance steps. But for him, if he triggered his overclocked brain state, memory was no obstacle. In the steamy bathroom, Guanya's phone buzzed on the counter. Her cheeks flushed slightly. Zhang Yuanqing must have finished reading the file. Zhang skipped the small talk, asking straight out, "What exactly are rule-type artifacts?" Guanya explained, "There are many types of artifacts in the realms, each with different functions. Officially, we classify them into 3 categories: cost type, rule type, and one more I'm not high-ranked enough to access. Cost type and rule type can't really be ranked. Their powers are too different. But everyone agrees. Rule-type artifacts are rarer, harder to deal with, and each one is worth a fortune. Dealing with them isn't a secret in the organization. You find the pattern, crack the rule. The red shoes inviting someone to dance? That's its rule. If you manage to follow it, there's a chance, just a chance, you can claim it. But that chance depends on a lot, whether it's willing, whether it's ownerless. Don't take it too seriously. Claiming a rule-type artifact is something you only daydream about. Zhang asked, "What about medicine? Can it be brought into the realms?" "Other than clothes, most real-world items can't go in. Medicine works, but only if you've already taken it." "What if I just hold it in my mouth?" Guanyu couldn't give him a clear answer. Zhang knew this was the only gamble he had. He'd have to try. "Got it. Thanks, Guanyu Jia. Stay safe, little Scorpio. Oh, and today's your lucky day." Soon, the 36-hour respite was up. Zhang braced himself to enter Shelling Tunnel again. System prompt. Realm loading. Map unlocked. Welcome to Night Wanderer, Shelling Tunnel. Code 0079 difficulty. S-type. Solo. Death. Main mission 1. Survive 3 hours. Completed. Main mission 2. Explore Realm 0079. Progress 20%. Note. Non-realm items cannot be brought in. The next instant, his vision blurred. He was dragged straight into the dungeon again. It worked. Damn, I'm a genius. With the pill, I should survive the red shoes. Looking up at the sky, Zhang realized this place seemed locked in eternal night. If this realm really is like a game, maybe you have to touch things to reveal their info. He reached out and laid a hand on the temple's candle. System prompt. Name. Everlasting candle type. Fuel function. Purify. Ward evil description. Said to be refined from the fat of a long-life beast, left behind by Lady of Three Paths. Note. Purifying fear isn't always a blessing. Cannot be moved, as he expected. Only by touching it could he get details. No wonder he hadn't known in the first run. It was an artifact all along. Thank God he'd read the file. Purifying fear isn't always good. Clearly this was a cost-type artifact. Its price, losing fear. But right now, Zhang was terrified with zero intention of dying bravely. He decided to bunker down in the hall first. Next step, explore the East Courtyard, uncover its dangers and rules. Exploration couldn't exceed 15 minutes. Any longer, and the shoulder-riding wraith would get him. Death guaranteed. The blue pill was his trump card against the red shoes, but hardly a sure bet. Even with all the info, his gut screamed, "I don't want to go out there." He'd already scouted the compound. This time he'd head straight for the East Yard. This game really is, try it, and you die. Technically, the rules allowed him to camp in the hall forever. But the end result? Starvation. The longer he delayed, the weaker he'd be, and the slimmer his chances. Stick your neck out, or pull it in, it's still the blade. No choice but to risk it. The file warned the banyan tree was dangerous. But to his eyes, it was just a big old tree. Maybe checking it would bump up his exploration progress. Then again, in every horror game, ancient wells and old trees never end well. He hissed through his teeth. Better detour for now. Just as Zhang turned to leave, crack. He looked down. He'd stepped on a dried corpse's bones. The head was still intact, but its rotation went far beyond human limits. It must have been twisted a full 180 degrees before death. Just as Zhang Yuanqing wondered what could have caused it, a cold gust of wind rose behind him. Someone, or something, kept calling his name. He didn't turn around immediately. Instead, he pulled out the bronze mirror from inside his coat. As he slowly raised it, his hand began to tremble uncontrollably. Through the mirror, a long-haired woman in white drifted up from the old well, beckoning him to come closer. Thankfully, she didn't seem to have any rule-type supernatural ability. "Sadako," Zhang Yuanqing shouted, sprinting away from the well with every ounce of strength. He ran who knows how far before ducking beside a house. The ghost's voice faded behind him. According to the files, the Night Wanderer had been here too. He warned, "Don't look back," but never said anything about walking back. Maybe the ghost only targets those who turn their heads. If that's true, you might be safe going back later, right? Right now, Zhang Yuanqing just wanted to go home. Still, thinking since I'm here anyway, he pushed the door open to at least make some progress. A chilling wind rushed out, forcing him to tactically retreat. After waiting a while and seeing nothing emerge, he carefully began searching the room. It seemed to be the temple's old kitchen. Suddenly, a wooden ladle appeared in his sight. Delighted, Zhang Yuanqing picked it up. Finally, a container. He'd heard that a boy's urine could ward off evil spirits. Scratching his nose awkwardly, he muttered, "Well, I've never had a girlfriend, but I probably don't count as a virgin, right?" Then he stared regretfully at his own hands. "Damn it, you two just can't stop showing off, can you?" After staring at the ladle a moment longer, he decided against trying the so-called boy's water. As the saying goes, cold winds on the old stone road, a lone shadow walks in fear. A drop of boy's urine on a ghost's face, yet the spirit stays still, unaware. Tried the sacred cure, wasted the thought. In the end, all illusions fade. Truth lies only in one's heart. Zhang Yuanqing had no idea what got in his head, but whatever it was, saying nice and wet somehow felt right. He kept exploring and found a few tools, though, honestly, they were good only for self-comfort. Soon, he discovered a weapon storage room inside room number 2 of the temple. And just like that, he achieved light-speed amnesia. After all, in a world full of ghosts and spirits, a temple having an armory wasn't that strange. But the 2 new corpses he saw made him pause. Why were there mummies here? Normally, a mummy forms in 2 ways: artificial preservation or natural dehydration. The first could be ruled out. The second usually happens in deserts or extremely dry areas, which this temple clearly wasn't. There were no fatal wounds, no broken bones, no signs of violence. Then he noticed 2 deep punctures on each neck. Whatever did this had drained them dry. Suddenly, something slammed against the wall of the next room. The banging didn't stop. Playing it safe, Zhang Yuanqing grabbed a long blade and a spear. Step by step, he crept closer to the sound. Inside, several coffins stood in a row. 2 fresh, mummified corpses lay among them. One of the corpses had an object near its hand, something like a Buddhist Vajra club. It reminded Zhang Yuanqing of the missing hand of the Lady of the 3 Mountains. She must have been holding one of these. Just then, the banging shifted to a dragging, scraping noise. The corner of one coffin began to slide open. A bluish, clawed hand with sharp nails reached out. Zhang Yuanqing stared in frozen horror. Bang! The coffin lid flew into the air. Out crawled a corpse in a tattered Taoist robe, with fangs and a bluish face. A full-blown Jiangshi. Realizing things were going south, he turned to run. But right then, his 15-minute exploration time expired. The shoulder-perching ghost that drained life force had reappeared. Yet the nightmare wasn't over. The zombie's nose twitched. It smelled a living human. Zhang Yuanqing felt like he was already dead. "I just want to go home. Grandpa, Grandma, any mom, and my late dad, I want to go home." A violent crash shattered the door. The zombie stepped out, following his scent. Zhang Yuanqing glanced back once, then bolted toward the main hall with everything he had. To his horror, the zombie crouched into a perfect runner's starting pose. A moment later, it dashed forward at inhuman speed. The sight nearly made Zhang Yuanqing faint. How was this thing even called stiff if it moves that fast? It was clearly faster than him. Catching up was only a matter of time. So instead of running, he stopped cold. Twisting his body for leverage, he thrust the iron spear straight ahead. Yet the strike didn't pierce flesh. Instead, it rang out like metal clashing on metal. Looking closer, Zhang Yuanqing saw a gaping hole in the zombie's chest. The sight instantly reminded him of his senior brother, whose heart had been ripped out by the guillotine trap. The zombie roared in fury. It lunged forward, snapping the spear in half with sheer brute force. Taking advantage of the opening, Zhang Yuanqing switched the long knife to his right hand and swung hard at the creature's neck. Another metallic clang echoed through the room. The impact numbed his palm. Pain shot through the web of his thumb. That's when he realized the zombie pretending not to run was fake, but the iron skin was real. As he hesitated for a split second, the zombie twisted sharply, thrusting its hand straight toward him. He dodged just in time, but one sharp nail sliced his arm open. The next instant, the creature's other hand slammed him onto the floor. Its 4 fangs descended toward his throat. Desperate, Zhang Yuanqing summoned the corpse-suppressing talisman from his inventory. The moment the zombie saw the charm, it instantly backed away, retreating several steps. Clearly, it had some intelligence. It feared the talisman. In his head, Zhang Yuanqing prayed, "Please, ghost lady from the well, don't mess with me right now. And you, shoulder spirit bro, maybe drain my life a bit slower, okay? We're old pals here." Step by step, clutching the talisman tight, he edged away from the zombie. As soon as he neared the main hall, he turned and bolted. Just before his life force was completely drained, he rushed into the zone lit by candles, and the ghostly aura vanished. Zhang Yuanqing slammed the door shut. He tore off his jacket, gasping for breath. Looking at his trembling hands, he muttered with a wry smile, "Yep, zombie nails really are poisonous." Uncle Nine never lied. Without disinfectant or a tetanus shot, Zhang Yuanqing had no idea how fast corpse poison spread. "Am I really going to die from this?" he thought nervously. Strangely, though, he realized he wasn't scared at all. Then it hit him. The candlelight. It must be suppressing fear itself. Before, he could take his time exploring. But now that was impossible. So, he decided to move on to Plan B, taming the red dancing shoes. Otherwise, with his current strength, there was no way he could take down a zombie that intelligent and physically superior. He allowed a deep breath. Now that he'd been poisoned, a strange calm settled over him. "If I'm doomed anyway," he thought, "then who else should step into hell, if not me?" He went to the spot where the red shoes had last appeared and waited. What he didn't expect was, the red shoes really did show up. But this time, they appeared between him and the main hall. Clearly, they had no intention of letting him escape. A glowing prompt appeared before his eyes, "Dance invitation. If you agree, step in place." Zhang Yuanqing could only pray silently, asking his late father to bless him. "Please let me enter brain overload mode." Fortunately, fate didn't screw him over this time. His brain went into overdrive successfully. Every move of the red shoes dance became crystal clear in his mind. After about 2 minutes, the red shoes stopped and bowed gracefully, signaling it was his turn. Zhang Yuanqing couldn't match the shoes' elegance, but at least he didn't miss a single step. Because of inexperience, it took him 5 whole minutes to finish what the red shoes had done in 2. Just as he was about to collapse, another message appeared. "Your dancing skills remain as terrible as ever." With that, the red shoes vanished, stored neatly in his inventory. Unfortunately, because of his awful dancing, the red shoes would only admire him for 30 minutes. Zhang Yuanqing swallowed the special medicine in one gulp. Then, he opened the information panel of the red dancing shoes. Name, red dancing shoes. Type, footwear. Function, tracking and assassination. Description, once belonged to a princess from a Western kingdom, born graceful and breathtakingly beautiful, a dancer whose charm captivated every man in the land. But her wicked stepmother, jealous of her beauty and talent, locked her away in a tall tower. Lonely and forgotten, the princess danced beneath the cold moonlight until the day she died. Her red shoes inherited her will, wandering the world ever since, forever dancing alone. Note I, Mode 1. The shoes can be thrown toward a chosen target, or bound through a trace of blood, hair, or flesh. Once locked, they will hunt the target endlessly, ignoring all physical barriers. They cannot be escaped, cannot be destroyed, until the target dies or completes one dance with them. The dance type is unrestricted. Mode 2. When worn, the shoes increase agility and evasion, allowing terrain-free running with 0 stamina cost. However, each wear lasts only 5 minutes. Exceed that, and the shoes will fuse to your body. You'll keep running with them until death, or until you cut off your feet. Note 2. If you don't dance with me, I'll suffocate you all. After reading the entry, Zhang Yuanqing couldn't help blurting out, "Holy crap, an artifact. A rule-type item that ignores physics itself? Utterly overpowered." Still, it only admired him for 30 minutes. After that, he'd probably have to dance again. But half an hour was plenty. With his 30-minute usage time secured, Zhang Yuanqing headed straight to where his senior brother was said to be resting. After all, that senior brother was the only ghost on the map capable of attacking freely. Taking him down had to be the top priority. Yet after searching for a while, Zhang Yuanqing saw no trace of him. He was just wondering if the guy had crawled back into his coffin, when the senior brother suddenly appeared on a tree behind him. It was meant to be a fatal ambush. But Zhang Yuanqing caught a whiff of that thick corpse stench. He turned his head. His senior brother was already lunging right at him. At that instant, the red shoes glowed faintly, twisting his body in an inhumanly flexible motion that dodged the strike. Before he could even catch his breath, the senior brother attacked again. That's when Zhang Yuanqing truly grasped the power of the red shoes. They didn't need his commands at all. Through dance alone, they moved his body, dodging every attack perfectly. Of course, the red shoes had one serious downside. Boys who can't dance might easily pull a vital part of themselves. The senior brother's attack seemed to have completely angered the red shoes. They suddenly took control of Zhang Yuanqing's body, forcing him into a flawless double flying kick. That same moment gave Zhang Yuanqing his chance to strike back. He quickly summoned a corpse-suppressing talisman, and as the senior brother started to rise, he slapped it right onto the creature's forehead. Just as the talisman's description promised, the undead monk, being an Yin-type entity, instantly froze, body locked and powerless. Wiping the sweat from his brow, Zhang Yuanqing sighed in relief. Without the red shoes, he'd be a corpse himself. Next on his list, the ghostly lady from the well. But before that, he had to retrieve the Vajra-like staff. As he focused his gaze on the weapon, its data window appeared before his eyes. Name: Demon Subduing Vajra. Type: Weapon. Description: a weapon infused with the power of the sun god, bane of all dark and evil entities. By offering blood, one may temporarily gain the power of sunlight. Note: powerful? Yes, but it's paid for with your life. After reading the entry, Zhang Yuanqing finally understood what had happened. The construction team before him had likely tried to use the Vajra to slay the zombie, but failed. They couldn't tame the red dancing shoes and ended up being trampled by them, losing countless members. When the zombie appeared, the rest were slaughtered. Realizing this, Zhang Yuanqing wasted no time. He had only 5 minutes left before the shoulder ghost returned. He had to finish off the ghost from the well before that. Yet when he looked down the well again, it was empty, just a plain, ordinary well now. But he could have sworn he'd seen a faceless woman rise from it earlier. Gripping the Vajra tightly, he steadied his breath. He didn't know what was going on, but the 15-minute timer was almost up. He decided to return to the main hall. The corpse poison was taking effect. Dizziness, labored breathing, stabbing pain in his lungs and heart. His time was running out. He'd explored both courtyards and subdued the zombie. Yet the mission hadn't ended, meaning something still remained hidden. He was sure he'd checked every room, even the well. Then his gaze slowly turned toward the stone statue behind him. The only place left unexplored was the main hall. Clearly, that empty stone hand was meant for the Vajra. And just as he suspected, the moment the Vajra was placed into the statue's hand, the entire sculpture began to crack and crumble. With a deep rumble, the stone shattered, revealing a hidden passage leading underground. Zhang Yuanqing didn't rush into the tunnel right away. Instead, he searched through the rubble for the demon subduing Vajra. Before long, he found it again. The description read, "A relic imbued with the sun god's power. By offering fresh blood, one may gain divine strength." If it was truly sunlight's power, shouldn't it drive away the darkness and bring light? Thinking that, he remembered the system's earlier warning. Something about it made his chest tighten with unease. Still, the Vajra had to be a key item in what lay ahead. Otherwise, the system wouldn't have highlighted it so clearly. Taking a deep breath, Zhang Yuanqing gritted his teeth and drove the Vajra straight into his thigh. A warm golden light spread through his body. Yet instead of dispersing the darkness around him, the relic granted him a pair of eyes that could see through the darkness itself. Even more, all the effects of the corpse poison, dizziness, suffocating pain, the burning in his chest, vanished completely. The only thing left was the bleeding wound on his leg. The price, of course, was exactly as stated. Life itself in exchange for divine energy. Pulling the red dancing shoes back on, he stepped into the narrow passage. The tunnel walls still bore rough, unfinished tool marks. It was clearly man-made. This must be it, he thought. The final puzzle of the Shelling tunnel dungeon. But as he moved deeper, faint cries for help echoed from ahead. Moments later, a massive tree trunk covered in human faces slowly came into view.